ruler has ever been. And Bran, well, he's a renowned explorer, always finding secrets. Being written about in Explorers League Geographic. With brothers like that, I'd feel a wee bit overshadowed. If I didn't kick so much ass! All right, lads, line up! It's hammer time!
Welcome back. Let's find out where we're going for game number 4 between Synergy and beGenius. The battleground
is Tilt City.
Infernal Shrines. We're going there. Caldor's so tilted from that focus.
No, I'm actually not. But it's just like, I'm not really tilted. It's just like you see something and you see, okay, this is like the idea behind it, and it works out quite well. And at some point, they just decide to take their hands off the keyboard. So they had a good plan. What I like about Synergy is they had a very good plan. They played a great half map, but on the other hand, then for some reason they just let that go. Then again, for us, it's great because we get to see more games.
We get more games between Synergy and beGenius. You know, sometimes you get caught up in the moment. It's all about resetting, you know. Sometimes it's very hard in the middle of a game to be like, all right, guys, we're doing this a little bit too much. Sometimes you don't even identify that you're doing it. Obviously, if they walk away from game number 3, they should be able to reset and think back and like, wait a minute, maybe we were misplaying slightly.
Of course, if they watch the replay, they are probably going to be quite mad at themselves because they're like, why did we just do this? And if you're caught up in the moment, as you said, if there's like so much adrenaline pumping in your veins, it's obvious that you're going to make a couple of mistakes. So they definitely this is something that we said going into the series.
Yeah.
They have to work on these things a little bit. Another good example was when they were pushing down at the bottom of the map and really forcing an issue against a talent lead on the opponent's side and having problems disengaging. This is really where Synergy has their weakness. And that's known, they are working on it, they're getting a bit better with it, but they will need some time to really get that kink out. It's actually very reminiscent to what Fnatic was doing at the beginning of 2016. It was their biggest weakness, that they were too aggressive and that they were lacking a bit of discipline. And once they worked on that and really were able to manage it, they became one of the best teams in the entire world. So Synergy definitely knows where their weakness lies right now, and they have to look into that.
So what I'm hearing is Synergy, after they get disciplined, BlizzCon Championship winners.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay. That's where I'm going, though. All right, Synergy hovering a ban. They're going to get rid of Gul'dan. Gul'dan is a hero that's relatively strong on this battleground, but that ban does seem a bit aggressive. Obviously, they have a plan that they want to go in for, and they don't want to deal with that Horrify.
Yeah, first of all, the Horrify. And if I see a ban on Gul'dan, I mean, I'm really wondering, okay, what exactly is Gul'dan countering in this sense? And
Kerrigan?
I mean, the Horrify, first of all, is, of course, absolutely fantastic. We talked about how great Gul'dan, how great Gul'dan is against Ragnaros's trait. So that's something with the Molten Core where you can think, okay, is that something that they're worried about? We've seen a lot of Ragnaros being played on Infernal Shrines because he slows down the map. Your opponent is able to grab one of the Punishers. You yourself just simply use Molten Core and you're able to slow it down a bit. So that's something we can look out for. I personally also am interested to see if one of the teams is going to use the Sylvanas here. We've seen already earlier Synergy using her on Cursed Hollow. This map makes her even stronger because you can push with the objective. And beGenius is actually like really considering their first ban here. Like they are using the entire time pool for that ban. And they ban out Greymane Tacita through the draft.
So Synergy or beGenius will get that Tacita.
And ignored.
Synergy gets Vala. Which is, it's not really ignored. It's saying, okay, well, I take the Vala, and that means you don't get that Synergy.
I mean, you have still the Tacita around.
Yeah.
Nice pun.
To throw my pin on the ground. Nailed it.
You have also Zarya.
Yeah.
So if you don't get the Tacita, you might just jump into the Zarya if you want to make Vala that hyper carry. And there's actually like a lot of heroes to take right now. beGenius has to make choices. There's Tacita around. You have Lucio still available. You can think about the Zarya at this point. Are you jumping into that Arthas that we've seen banned out a couple of times? There is a variety of heroes to pick now, where you're all of a sudden in a spot where like, oh my god, we can choose all of them, and then they're like, wait a second, but that also means that our opponent is getting at least 2 of them too.
Yeah, who gets the OP heroes? Which one are we going for? So, yes, I think here I would take Zarya, if I'm not wanting to go an auto attacker, you grab Zarya here because you can build her into different compositions. If we get Tassadar, beGenius is going to be going into something. Now, beGenius, when you think about what their hero pools are, their auto attackers are pretty limited. So that's probably why they're thinking about this for a while. What do we actually pick up? They've got Tychus in the past, they've got Vala. Vala's not on the board anymore.
Yeah. And, well, they have Tassadar now. We have the Nubarak here, a hero that we could still see. We are talking a lot about Greymane, so they might be moving into
That's
that.
true.
They love their Nubarak. For synergy, again, Zarya. If you want to build that hyper carry with like double with shields and support, then Vala plus a Zarya and a Lucio would be really great. They decide for the Lucio and Oriel combo that we have seen before. We talked about it. As we said yesterday, guys, in the case that you missed out on a few of the European Heroes of the Storm matches in the past since the Western Clash happened, double support is very dominant right now. We see that a lot more than in the past, especially with Lucio combos. So this is a very strong setup for synergy already, and I'm curious to see what the bans are going to be at this point.
Yeah, for you youngins at home, the Oriel Lucio is what we call the hot. It is now currently the hot in Europe. You're going to be seeing a lot of these double support compositions. They really help out, especially when you have that Vala mix-up. So bans, what are we going to get rid of here if you're beGenius?
By the way, before we head into the bans, let me make a quick public service announcement, because we're talking a lot about double support. We're talking a lot about double tank or double melee frontline. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are drafting in Hero League, do your colleagues a favor and stop that triple backline BS that we oftentimes see. It hasn't been in the meta for, I think, 2 years. So quick public service announcement: if you're drafting for Hero League, double support or at least double frontline, that's the way to go. This is how you get your wins. This is how you rank up.
And for you at home, the reason why this PSA is coming your way is because Caldor is playing in Hero League for North America, and the poor guy is having a hard time. We love our triple back lines.
Yes, you do. And you also like very interesting talent builds on this server. It's fascinating.
It's so funny. We're sitting here preparing and getting ready for a cast, and I'll see him just throw his hands up a little bit, and I'm like, what's up? He's like, triple backline. I'm so mad. Ah. Okay, so...
Hey, I'm not raging.
Varian has been banned out. Illidan for the opposing side. Illidan is one of those options that can get picked up, especially when you're thinking about beGenius. We've seen some Illidan play here and there in the past from them. So they're really eliminating their options for beGenius and their hero pools. We might actually see a different auto attacker come out for beGenius, and that gets me excited.
Yeah, we might actually. I was irritated for just a second because it seems like someone has stolen the Butcher's Cleaver there, something like along those lines. Our cameraman has very interesting things that he is currently detecting around the set. But yeah, back to the ban. So Illidan is first of all banned out because that Tassadar combo, of course, makes him quite dangerous. Oh. But we are seeing something that has happened before. We see Soljan. So Soljan this time with a panic button, having the Rhaegar in for the Ancestor and the Tassadar. Survivability in his part should be fantastic. And Synergy, having the Vala as the hyper carry with a double support, a double front line.
And we have Sonya and Johanna, which is control for the shrines, that blind for that Taz when that does come out.
I'm getting trolled.
You're getting messed up, man. He's all in this life, dude. Okay, all right, thank you.
Oh my god, look at that bow tie.
I know, man. Kelly righted it earlier. It was to the left.
Okay.
Draft is done. In a second here. Who is the 5th hero getting picked up? I think you go for another tank here. Something with wave clear?
I personally would. beGenius has played an Uberak solo before, though, so I'm a little bit worried on that part. And I mean, given what we've seen today, we are probably going to see them run with Cocoon again, so I would like an Arthas.
What about ETC?
I wouldn't mind an ETC either. You can play the ETC here as well if you really want to. The Arthas, I feel, gives you a little bit more control over the shrines.
Yeah.
So I would use the Arthas in that sense. It helps you. And they go for a Tracer.
This is so weird to see from beGenius. beGenius is one of those teams that ran so many different triple warrior compositions, and today, here in Week 6, is completely vastly different in terms of the draft compared to the first 5 weeks. I know the meta's changed slightly, but they really seem to be priding themselves on these isolation techniques and attempting to go for more micro-oriented type of team fights.
I'm going to be blunt. I think they're going to get wrecked.
Okay, well, that's possible.
Like, I don't have a lot of trust in their comp, to be honest, especially since I expect them to go for Cocoon again. So they have done it every single time. I wouldn't do it if you have that Anubarak as a solo, but they've done it. So if they stick with that, then I'm a little bit worried for them. That Sonya is going to do a lot of damage. We have that Vala also. And thinking about the composition that they're running here, every single time I see a setup with like a double front line and a double healer with Vala, I'm thinking about Creed actually getting value. And we have seen a couple of games where that's the case, and can be a very brawly map. And once you complete that talent, it's basically useless until you complete it. But once you do that, you do so much damage to any target that you can actually hit. And if they are able to complete it, they would do so much work. And again, this is a map where usually AoE is more what you're aiming for, but they have a fair amount of AoE with the heroes they're running. I mean, we're talking Johanna, we're talking Sonya. They have also Oriel, which can help with that. I think one way or another, depending, it doesn't really matter which kind of route they go. I feel they have the stronger setup than beGenius. I feel the draft is definitely going to Synergy, and the only thing they have to do at this point is not mess it up.
Well, in terms of logic, I agree. There is always a high-risk, high-reward type of strategy, though. If they do have Cocoon and they lock out a support, particularly the Ariel here is what I'd focus. You can Pulse Bomb and maybe get a blow-up on someone here. Let's find out, though. It's game number 4. beGenius facing off against Synergy.
Synergy and beGenius. beGenius has done a great job coming back into the series on Sky Temple, and now they are once again facing off against the Mountain, though. Synergy to the left side, once again with a strong composition, and we have Hydra on Sonya for the Shrine Control, Sir Ice Cream on Lucio, Sevka on Oriel for those deadly detainment strikes, Power of Dreams on the Johanna, and Neon playing the hyper carry here with the Vala.
beGenius on the right, fighting to stay alive in this matchup. Unstable on the Rhaegar, Danatan on the Anubarak, Arakeen on Zul'Jin. We're also going to have Kirva on the Tracer, and last but not least, we will be also having Tank for the win. So, we're going to come right back out, getting ready for this matchup. Our teams are grouping up. I will say that Tassadar works so well here with both the Zul'Jin and the Tracer. There are two primary targets that can be very impactful for this team. If Tracer's able to get in the back line and get isolation, and Zul'Jin's in the front just cranking people's faces down, they can have a solid team fight.
Keep also in mind that we have a Johanna in this game now. So Johanna's job is going to be not only very disruptive, getting the wave clear in, but also waiting with the wave clear until, sorry, not with the wave clear, with the shield clear, until we're having a moment where she can get decent value against either Zul'Jin or against Tracer. Mostly Zul'Jin is probably going to be an issue here for them when he pops Assault as well. So this is something that they have to watch out for in the setup right now. That Johanna does a decent job. I'm not really worried too much about that. They have a really great Johanna player here with him. And yeah, for me, it's really the question, can Synergy play their comp? Because in the last game, they struggled with that. Once that the game got a little bit more even, they panicked. They made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, I would say, and it cost them the game in the end because beGenius just capitalized on them. If they give beGenius an opportunity again, beGenius is going to take it. No doubt about that. So the question is, do they play their comp correctly?
Well, let's find out if they can play their comp. Here we go. Back into the battleground. This will be Infernal Shrines. The Shrine Control definitely goes in the favor of Synergy here. They have that Johanna, they have their Sonya set up. It seems to be the theme of today's matches. Synergy plays the battleground, beGenius plays what they want to play. And if they do get the fights they want, they can make it work. Sadly, it's only happened once for them.
Yeah, beGenius has very aggressive compositions, whereas everybody else leans more towards having a very strong front line. They are currently still going for a ton of damage. And this is actually something where we already have, I don't really say a preview, it's a little bit reminiscent of what happened on the last map. You're not allowed to chase someone like the chase someone like the Tracer here, for example. They made a bit of a mistake in the last game, focusing too hard on chasing Samuro and trying to get a kill against him. That didn't work out for them. As long as they stay grouped, I think this is their best shot. Especially Vala cannot get isolated here. They run one backliner, and we call her the hyper carry here because Neon's job is going to be to go very deep, very aggressive, and he has the support from 2 healers, so he shouldn't really die here. And that's really, if Neon falls, their game is over.
Yep, and Neon's going to have a lot of weight on his pressure. I know that currently, when you look at his matches before today, he's 0-3 on that follow. But with the double support backing him up and really assisting in these fights, he's had a much better Vala day so far, and we'll see if he can continue to have that. Danatan taking some poke here on the left. Our lanes have been set up. Tassadar will be in the top lane, and Tassadar being in top lane is solid here for beGenius, but he's actually the main wave clear for the team. That Psionic Storm going to be so important against Hydra.
Yeah, and right now we have rotation still happening down here at the bottom, so it's a pretty traditional split that we have for the two of them. And Unstable already starting for mana. needing to head back here. And the temple is activated, or is going to be activated in a little bit. So the team's aiming for level 4, trying to get the talent. And then a lot of questions are going to be answered. Because as we said, with this setup, Bala has actually two very different choices. Are you being more teamfight oriented with Creed, or are you playing more the traditional style with Punishment, trying to get the wave clear in and work towards the objective a little bit more heavily?
We'll find out in a few seconds when that forward does hit. Sonya is postured already around the Punisher. Kirbois is attempting to at least harass, but not having any success. There goes the standard multi-shot pickup for the Vala.
Playing the objective a bit more, focusing on the wave clear here. So both of those variations totally valid. It's just a different playstyle that you are trying to use with your team. So in this case, Punishment is going to be the name of the game. Trying to just move in already. So Ice Cream is here for the heals. Once again, they're initiating. Hydra is putting some pressure onto Danatan on the Nubarak. And immediately the Detainment Strike following up from Oriel, pushing them back and getting the stun in.
Multiple members low on health for beGenius. Synergy just healing up with that Lucio and the Ariel composition. The area effect healing is too much. beGenius needs to give this up, and they do.
And this is exactly the problem, what we just observed here. And Nubarak having a very good stance at first, then falling behind a little bit, getting low in HP, and all of a sudden you need to retreat with him. Once you retreat, there's no frontline anymore. Your only tank is on the way back, and that's the biggest problem. So Synergy takes an easy Punisher here, splits onto the lanes to get experience, and is trying to translate that into structure damage. Notable, of course, this is still a very early Punisher, so this is still something where you're not losing too much. The wall is all that's gone. But this is the problem that beGenius will have to face later. And it's also why, in this game, I would really, really like them to not go for Cuckoo.
Let's see if they go that route. Danatan will have to make that choice at level 10. Synergy continues to compound this damage they have. And the advantage they got from getting the Punisher. They push the top and grab some experience, which has put them at 6.5 to 6. Tracer shows up and gets immediately blinded, no major damage coming out, and that will be a theme that continues for the game. The only thing beGenius can do to handle that blind coming their way is to spread out Zul'jin and Tracer. Only allow one target to get hit at a time.
Yeah, and also with the one of the things is it's really the blinds that I want to come back to, because we're going to have a level 13, most likely Oriel also going into blinds. We have the blinds on the Johanna, and with two auto attackers, especially the Zul'jin, having to push in a majority of the damage. I think this is something where they just need to coordinate their cooldowns and make sure that Zul'jin for the most time during these fights is not able to get that auto attack damage in towards the front line.
And that even gets worse when Archon comes online. If we go for the Archon, I can see a world where we pick up Force Wall and allow a Nubarak to be tankier, and that way you can get the isolation that they would love to have with this composition to get those scenarios where they start to win team fights. But still, if Archon is picked up, those blinds great on Archon as well.
Yeah, another thing is they have only one lockdown, that's the Nubarak. And they're trying that again, so Ice Cream is just simply moving out of there. So far, beGenius is struggling to get kills in, but they're stealing camps, this is fine. They're actually starting to do some damage with the help of those. But we have both of the team at roughly the same experience as we are starting to head into the second phase of the shrines, and another camp taken up at the top. Tracer is just having a quick look here, but of course Kiva is not going to be able to do anything about it.
The cavalry is just doing a peek. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
Checking out the camp over there while beGenius is grabbing their own camp on the right side. That will give that tug of war of mercenaries on the top. 8 to 8. beGenius surprisingly has actually held on pretty well in terms of experience despite their lack of a major wave clear. Thanks for the win really helping out in that experience bar. And this is the moment where beGenius makes a play. Try and pick someone off on the rotation, which Tracer is doing. Lucio will get away safely at a quarter health and get healed up by Sepka. And Hydra goes in for the engage.
Neon once again up at the forefront, trying to get out the damage. Hydra, on the other hand, also creating some space whenever he can. None of the two teams is heading yet towards the shrine, but we have 13 of those minions taken already a bit earlier by the blue team. Synergy doing well with a slight head start.
I will say if Power does miss the blind, he missed one in that last fight, Erkin will step forward and apply auto attacks, and he did so. He got Ariel down to half HP. Power this time does connect with the blind, which makes Erkin less effective. But if there are moments where Power isn't on point with that blind, things will be difficult for Synergy, as we just witnessed.
Position established on the shrine right now, and a great lead. They are going to get that Punisher 100%, but are they going to lose heroes here? Danatan is jumping into the backline. Once again, Neon, on the other hand, is trusting into his healers, standing his ground. Tracer missing the pulse bomb, and once again, they are on the chase. Looking good for Synergy, and they will pick up that Punisher.
Yeah, the moment that Pulse Bomb did not connect, beGenius lost that fight and they started retreating. Now their main goal is to defend this Punisher and not lose any members. If they lose one member, Synergy gets 10 and they could go for a massive team fight and get a hard engage.
Tracer is actually down. Tracer fallen, and that's a big problem. Not only is level 10 on the board for Team Synergy, but they're also just wrecking that top lane here, taking down the fort, pushing it in even harder. Things are starting to look a little bit grim for beGenius and not too far behind just yet, but they're losing structures. And the big question here, of course, once again, now that level 10 is ready, is that the moment where beGenius can turn it around with the help of the heroics?
It's the moment where they do it. Obviously, you grab your level 10 Tracer for talent. You make sure you hit that Pulse Bomb. You have Tazdingo available. So now we can have a moment where our Zul'jin does step forward and apply some auto attacks. Maybe gets on a spot where he baits out a hard engage, drops a Tazdingo, and sets healing for the follow-up, and they take a team fight and just power through it. If they do get the momentum where they break through, they still have 5 members, Tassadar Rhaegar with auto attackers will clean up.
I'm really a bit worried right now for beGenius because so far the game has gone exactly as we envisioned it looking at the draft. We have one team that established Shrine Control quite easily. We have Synergy always on the point there. And with the help of those two supports, it seems to be very, very tricky for their opponent to kill someone. Tracer has to go really deep to make anything happen here. And things are not easy for beGenius right now.
It's not easy. Can beGenius go deep? Let's go back into the match here as we are unpausing. The Punisher deep into the keep line will get cleaned up. Danotan helping out there. And we're at a spot where we're going to have a bit of a standstill. The mercenary camps will be the biggest point for contention. And if you're beGenius, I think you try to fight constantly. You're trying to find a moment where you can break your opponent apart and find some isolation.
2 heroic abilities have not been taken yet, and that's good old Rhaegar. Is he going to go Ancestral, yes or no? You would expect so, with beGenius having, of course, also Tazdingo on Arakin's Zul'jin. But what is a Mubarak going to do here? So, I mean, a Bloodlust would, of course, also give value to that setup. There's no doubt about that, especially if you're having the Archon in here too. The question is just if a disengage is going to be a bit too strong on the side of their opponent. So if they want to go all in with it, then Bloodlust it is. And yes, they actually do it.
They're going Bulldozer. I think it's going to be Cocoon. There it is. Cocoon's been picked up. If they drop the Cocoon and they drop the Bloodlust, they can Bulldozer over an opponent. But Synergy, the moment they saw Bloodlust, they walked away.
Yeah. If you go for Cocoon, or if you go for Bloodlust, you have to go Cocoon or the other way around.
Yeah.
So in this case, they're not waiting for the sustain fight. They're actually trying to go in. And this is really where you have to hold your blinds. You have to wait with these blinds until these ults are dropped. It's a long cooldown on the shield glare. And once that the ult is dropped on the side of beGenius, this is the moment where Johanna has to say, all right, boys, here's the blind right there. Let's make sure they can't just completely run over us, slow them down a little bit, and just delay, and then we can take the fight.
I will say beGenius gives us fun games. That's for sure.
Yes, they definitely do.
Cocoon, Bloodlust Life, I'm ready to see if it pays off. This is definitely a high-risk play from beGenius, but the rewards can be wonderful for them. We're going to have the Tracer consistently hanging out with power while the rest of the members do grab the Mercenary Camp. Shrine does activate in the bottom, which means Tassadar will have the rotation to come hang out.
It's going to get pretty hectic once that the Bloodlust is being dropped if they cannot coordinate it well. This is the moment where Synergy has to actually show us that they can keep a cool head. So once again, this is where the Shrines come to play. This is where beGenius is going to try and make a stand. They're going to try and get a good setup, but they're also very close to being a talent behind. At level 13 will give another blind over to Synergy. And here we go. They're starting to move in. Yes, the Archon. Bloodlust is already being used. Immediately we're seeing them dropping the beat. There's the shields. And all of a sudden, it's beGenius in trouble. They try to go for power. He moves back and Sonya takes over, chasing everyone. beGenius getting slaughtered.
Synergy turns it around the moment Neon comes out of that cocoon. He pops his strafe and the multi-shot, damage being applied. Synergy takes a massive lead, 13-12, and it just did not pan out.
Is it me or was it a little bit anticlimactic?
I got excited. I heard a Bloodlust lure. I was like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh, it's happening.
I mean, they drop the Bloodlust. They go immediately for the Cocoon, and Lucia says, like, boys, I got this. Drops the beat, and then they go straight in.
So you have to wonder here, is Vala the correct target there to actually go for the Cocoon, or do you drop it on a support?
Well, that's actually a really good question. That sound barrier, of course, was a big problem. Once that dropped, and they were able to just, like, delay everything with the blinds. I mean, Vala is the main damage dealer. I probably wouldn't really go for her. In my ideal world, I would probably just try and get it on the Johanna and try to walk past her, because with the Condemn, with the Blinds, with the Blessed Shield, she's the one that slows you down. And what you want to do if you go for the Bloodlust, you want to go for that backline. So I would probably just like try drop the Bloodlust and either get the Lucio or the Johanna, one of the two. With one, you prevent the sound barrier to be dropped. With the other one, you prevent Johanna to slow you down, and then you need to go for a target.
It's a fun conversation, because in my mind, I go for the Lucio, because I think he has the retreat capability to make his team come back, and then come back in and help Cocoon. So I'd go for him, and then try to dive forward and try to play around that blind, but it is a very difficult thing to do, as Synergy has 2 to 3 tools to handle the Bloodlust.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying like one of the two, because the problem I have with like going for the Lucio is that if Johanna is able to slow the onslaught down just a little bit, then the rest of the team can quickly focus down the Cocoon. You have Vala still there, so she can kill the Cocoon, and you have a Sonya. So if those two just focus on it right away, what do you get out of it? So it's a pretty tricky choice to make. I just believe that Vala is definitely the wrong target.
Synergy taking the time here to push in the bottom and keep wall. The Punisher is cleaned up immediately here, though. That is one of the solid things about having this. They do kill Punishers quickly. Now the Bloodlust has been popped. The team is rotating in. Archon being used in the back line. Rhaegar low on health. Rhaegar falls. Danatam being focused too.
Get wrecked, son. Tracer down, a double kill already, and this is Synergy pushing in, aiming for the 16. There's the talent. Of course, they have the extra blind on Oriel now as well. And this time, beGenius changing it up, actually, going with the Cocoon straight onto Lucio, but it didn't matter. The immediate focus of the Cocoon helped them to go in, and Nubarak barely getting away, but it is not going to save the keep here. Great stance on the side of Synergy.
And Synergy does the right move here. They pull away when all 5 members of beGenius does spawn, and they play the battleground. Love the call here. Very similar to what we saw in Cursed Hollow, where they stayed too long around the keep, trying to be a bit greedy. Here, they just went for the maximum amount of what they could get and then retreated away.
So now Synergy is far ahead. This is something we've seen in the last game, and that's when they started to screw this up a little bit. But right now, we have a 1-2 level lead for them. We're seeing them with a keep removed from beGenius. And so far they've done everything right, because beGenius is putting all their eggs in one basket. It's the Bloodlust and just wipe them basket. And they have gotten 1 kill in the entire game, which is a bit crazy if you think what they're trying to do here. So even with Archon Bloodlust, even with the Cocoon, they're not able to make a move. So the big question is, will beGenius find the one fight where they can use their comp? Because if Synergy starts losing a team fight, they're going to lose it big time.
U1X being coming online makes it much easier for Hurricane to get those auto-attacks at the end that he wants. Here is the Bloodlust being popped. The blind comes out. So does the bear at the same time. Danatam on the back right is getting low on health.
Not even close, especially since Cocoon was used way before Bloodlust even came into play. So again, another kill for Synergy, and they are pushing that mid lane.
Pushing the mid lane. Eyes on a keep here with the Nubarak down. There is no engage for beGenius. beGenius does take 16, so they grab a couple of talents, but this actual keep is being focused down. Archon comes in as well, starts bringing the area affectability. Hydra will just spin to win and get out.
Yeah, you don't have to go for the keep, but you can push it in this case. There's another 8 seconds until the Nubarak is back.
Nice
Oriel
Aegis.
with the Aegis, exactly. They're poking against the keep. Top lane in the meantime also pushed. A bit more experience for beGenius, who is on level 16. Even talents right now. Keep is gone. That's the moment where you retreat.
Danton shows up, peekaboo, he dives on in. He's gonna hit the Neon on the left side, but he just gets turned around on the damage, and the health is just not here for beGenius. Erickene's having to run, which means he's not auto-attacking. Strafe pops, that's the core, and yes, this is looking like it could be game.
4 heroes dead, Synergy is on the move. They go straight in for that core, and ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna see a 3-1 victory as Synergy drops beGenius core. The game's over. GG.
Nice play there by Synergy. They are going to walk away here with a 3-1 victory over beGenius. Some moments of glory for beGenius, but sadly, man, when you look at the scoreboard, they continue to stay at the bottom in the A slot with a 0 and 8.
Yeah, to find those moments of glory, in case you're wondering, in the last game, you had to have a magnifying glass. If you didn't have that, then it's a bit tricky.
You're so mean.
I'm sorry, but the thing is really, what do you expect going for that Nubarak with the single tank at the front line and having no sustained talent?
Death.
Yeah, like
that's what I expect.
It's again the same play that they had on Tomb of the Spider Queen. If you are ahead, you win with it.
Sure.
No question about it. But if you are falling behind, you have absolutely no chance. And Nubarak came back when they were going to defend, but they were trying to defend the keep. And Nubarak was dead, comes back, goes in. and dies.
Yeah.
Like, they have no one else to really help him out there. Even the double support was just not enough. beGenius had some cool moves, I feel, in terms of ideas, what they showed there. They had a great standing on Sky Temple, and if they work on that a bit more, then I feel they can really make a stand in HGC. But they have to change their draft. I don't believe that the drafting that they're using right now will take them far into the season.
I think it's an issue for both of the teams, though. I mean, we talked about it the first few weeks. The support prioritization is just not there for Synergy. There was some adjustments today, so we're starting to see some of that being floated around. And then you look at beGenius, and they just play what they want to play. It almost feels like, all right, what hero do you feel like playing today? Well, I want to play a Nubrak.
With Synergy, on the other hand, I really feel like when you look at their drafts, they always have an idea. They always have like, okay, this is what we are trying to do. There's a clean and clutch strategy behind it. We've seen that with the great wave clear comp on Tomb. On Sky Temple, even though they lost a very good blow-up comp, they chose the wrong target, but that can be a winning strategy if you execute it right. And then on the last map, a very solid setup around a double tank front line, a hyper carry in the back, and 2 supports. And that combo with the Oriel heals, plus also the Lucio, worked out perfectly. Even with Bloodlust, Archon, Soljin, Tracer, one target died, and that was in the early game. So they really have good thoughts there. For them, it's more or less sometimes a bit of a problem of coordination or execution. But the drafting on their part, I feel you see a clean strategy when you look at it.
Yeah, and it comes down to really also that Johanna as well, making that bullets composition just not working at all the entire time. The blinds were always there. Sometimes when you're a Johanna, you have the button up and you just kind of toss it out. Okay, here's a blind. All right, it happened. But you need to hit it at the pivotal moments. It's very similar to a Brightwing Polymorph for you support mains out there. So Johanna going in there with that blind, making sure to hit, of course, on Zul'jin, who is probably the bigger target. You can deal with Tracer, especially when you're Volley, by turning around, dropping a Hungering Arrow, and an auto attack, and you're good to go.
Yeah, with Johanna, there's usually like the 2 cooldowns that you really have to watch out for if you're going in. Is first of all the shield glare, because you will usually only be able to use it once, maybe twice in a team fight. So you have to really just like take our time when to actually use it, when you get value out of it, and not simply spam it out. And also the Iron Scan. That is a really huge cooldown, and if you use that properly and just not always use it when you're running in, then you're in a good spot. You can actually take a stun or 2 depending on what your opponent is trying to do, and then use it on the way out to make sure that you secure victory there and that you don't die. So those are the 2 to really watch out for if you're trying to play Johanna.
Well, let's talk to Sir Ice Cream about it. Sir Ice Cream, thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone. Hi Caldor.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm pretty fine.
Awesome.
We finally won.
Yeah, let's talk about that. You guys just earned a victory. You're moving up slightly in the standings with that victory. How does it feel?
It feels amazing, but kinda we did the same in the past phase.
Yeah.
We now need to try to keep winning as much as we more.
Well, what do you think about that? Obviously, stiff competition ahead of you guys. You got 7 other teams or 6 other teams to look out for. Is there anyone that you're looking to focus on, or are you mostly just focusing on your own gameplay?
That's pretty interesting question, because we just have to do much more to get in the Crucible and show our game, you know.
So you're looking to just make it in the playoffs. That makes a lot of sense. Caldor.
Yep.
For me, first of all, a quick shout out, and I have to say, now that we like talking person here, your nickname is still the best in the entire HGC. Like, nothing beats that. I have 2 questions. First question. Why the focus on Murder on Sky Temple? I was a bit critical when I saw that, and it seemed like you could have had a way easier game not trying to kill the most hit point heavy target in the opponent's side. Why did you guys just always try to go for him?
Because it was easily target for us. We got the Zara, we got the Lucio, and we just couldn't get reach to Vivava. And that just screw you, focus Muradin.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, we were talking a bit about how Zarya might have been maybe the easier target for you, but yeah, Muradin was always out there. Then one thing that stands out to me a little bit, like talking about you guys, we had discussions on that when I was still in Europe. You always seem to go a little bit too deep. Like, you see an engagement, you push with the boss on Cursed Hollow, you go a little bit too deep, you lose 4 man on the way back. You have a similar situation on Sky Temple. Is that something that you guys work on, that you say, okay, we need to be a little bit more disciplined and move back earlier, or do you just get always carried by the momentum?
Oh, of course, we're learning something from our previous game, but we just can't do nothing with it. It's just like, you know, Russian behavior, over-aggression, just kill anything. Just, you know, a lot of pressure. Try to get something from it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, couldn't put it any better.
Well, Sir Ice Cream, before I let you go, I want to ask you about your next matchup against Tricked Esports. How you feeling about it, and are you prepared to take them on?
Same. We just have to win it. We have no choice almost. We just need to win the Tricked. We need to win the Plain Dogs, and it's our main target for next games.
Awesome. Well, I like the words, man. It's great to watch you guys continue to grow in the HGC, and I'm loving the new discipline. Continue being awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Good luck for the next one.
Thanks.
Congratulations.
All right. That was Sir Ice Cream. He's such a cutie. What a nice guy, man, coming in here and just smiling and enjoying the Russian comment. They know.
I'm loving it.
They know, man, the aggressive gameplay. So Synergy continues to grow, and they get a victory today, and it looks like they understand their place in the HGC right now. All we want to do is make sure that we get through Phase 1 here without going to the Crucible. And that's a fair goal. You know, you're in the bottom 2, and it's a reachable goal.
I mean, it's very down to earth. They're saying, like, we have to win everything right now. We are in a really bad spot in the standings, and we need to focus on the next game. So I really think that's a very good attitude to approach the next few matches. If they can work on their discipline a little bit more, I actually believe that they have a very good shot to just push someone else down there.
Well, we'll be right back with our next matchup of the day. The champions of the Western Clash taking on the Playing Ducks.
Behold Ragnaros!
As the Lord of Azeroth's fire elementals, Ragnaros desires nothing more than to burn the world to ash. Under the command of the old gods, he waged a war against the Titans eons ago and was banished